I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. This is Weather Impact Live, and it's a busy show tonight because we have a lot to talk about with Hurricane Melissa. Not record-breaking yet, but 175-mile-per-hour winds, top 10 lowest pressure in the Atlantic Basin on record at 906 millibars. That is a strong storm. It's nearly perfect if you look at it. I mean, the symmetry of the storm, the eye wall. I don't know if you've seen any of the video coming in of the eye wall from when they flew in today. They're flying out there right now, but I mean, just incredible video of it. Very symmetrical, and what we call that stadium effect. It looks like you're in the middle of a stadium, football stadium, looking around. This thing is headed towards Jamaica. It looks like overnight tonight into tomorrow, probably closer to tomorrow morning. So let's start right there. We'll start with the numbers. These are the 8 o'clock numbers that came in, 175-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving to the northwest at 2. The pressure has come up a little bit to 909. That is still extremely low, still very strong hurricane out there, and it's about 155 miles to the southwest of Kingston, Jamaica. And Kingston's on the southeast corner. Oh, well, there you go. You can see it on the map, okay? Now, here's the bigger picture. You can see where Cuba is, Turks and Caicos, the Caymans. It looks like it's going to be that western tip of Jamaica that gets a pretty good hit of it. Let's take you live out now, if we can, to Negril. Now, Negril is on the far leftern side of this thing. Look at that. There's not much going on. I mean, very light winds there. I would expect that because the winds are out of the east. All right. And on the other side of the island, over in Kingston, they've got 24-mile-per-hour winds. They've had gusts in the 30s, close to 40, but just gusts. Okay. But that's where the wind is coming in. So this is actually on the other side of the island, and it's sheltered by the island itself, at least for now. Okay, let me zoom in just a little bit closer here and give you an idea of what we were just looking at. So Negril is over here, Kingston's over here, and so what we have is some really good winds coming in like this. All right, so they're blowing straight offshore at Negril right there. And in fact, the ocean is just flat. The Caribbean Sea is just flat right there. That will not be the case for long. That will change, as you can imagine. Now, here's a look at the track, and what I've done is add the category of hurricane status on there. So when you see it turn black here, that is Cat 5. Anything over, well, anything 157 miles per hour or higher is Category 5. The blue here, Cat 4. Cat 3, Cat 2, Cat 1, tropical storm. So you can see how quickly this thing just went. All right, it didn't take long once it got going. Now, it is wobbling, and if you look, they thought it was up here, but now, yeah, they got it down here. Probably going to wobble a little bit before it makes a turn to the north and the west. This is getting a little bit further west, I think, so it'll be interesting. Now, Recon's been in and out of there today. That's where they've got that incredible video coming out of there. It's just, oh, it's just so crazy to see. That plane you see right there that just flew in, that came out of Lakeland. That's our very own. That's Miss Piggy and Kermit, at least one of them, and likely doing a science mission in there. I mean, obviously helping out with the locations. That's why they're crisscrossing, doing what we call those figure fours. But they're also, the flight that I was on trying to get to Aaron on the east coast of North Carolina, the objective that particular flight was to use the tail radar on that plane right there to look at the radar as a satellite moves over that same area at that same time. And then they can compare. Here's what the actual radar looks like in the storm, and here's what it looks like from the satellite. And how can we train the satellite to see what the tail Doppler sees, because it's more high res? And that way we don't have to use this plane as much. We can use the satellite. So that's one of the science missions that they use there. Now, these are the surface winds, all right? And so the center, excuse me, sorry about that. The center is about, well, they said from Kingston, so it's about 155 miles. It's a little bit closer now, all right? But the winds here are starting to get a little bit closer. All right, 45-mile-per-hour winds. You have those hurricane force winds sitting out there. And in fact, I kind of drew this one there for you. This will show about 80 miles from that southwest corner of Jamaica to those eye wall winds. And the highest winds are generally right in this area, right in here. All right, right in there. That's where you're going to see 175-mile-per-hour winds. Now, look, when you see that number, that's a crazy number, I know. However, most areas will not see that high of a wind. That's the highest they could find in a small part of the storm. But you better bet 150, 160 mile per hour winds are widespread around that eye wall. And I don't think it weakens very much before it makes landfall. It's going to turn. There's going to be a little shear on it to make it turn, but it's not going to weaken a whole lot. So I would not be surprised if this maintains at least Cat 5, at least 157 between now and landfall in Jamaica, which is probably going to be mid-morning tomorrow morning. All right, now here's the latest track as of 5 p.m. This is the latest track update that we got from the Hurricane Center. We'll get another one at 8 p.m. We just get data, right? We get the new numbers. But here you go. You can see 145 mile per hour winds tomorrow. That's after landfall on that southwestern tip of Cuba. All right, so it's going to have to take a hard right turn pretty quickly tonight for that to happen. All right, so it may end up getting on just this, I mean, maybe right over top of Negril, which is just on the very western tip right there. Versus now it looks like it could be somewhere to the east of Negril, but Kingston's way over here. The right side of the storm generally has the worst weather on it, okay? But that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's right over land. Now, tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, it's now moving across the Caribbean again and towards southeastern Cuba and Guantanamo Bay. All right, winds estimated at that point. Landfall will probably be overnight, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, in the middle of the night. And likely about 125 mile per hour winds, which is Cat 3. Anything over 111 goes to Cat 3, okay? Then by Wednesday afternoon, see, it's picked up a little bit of speed here, but by Wednesday afternoon, it's going to come off the coast of Cuba down to about 110 mile per hour winds, and that's what it's taking through the southeastern Bahamas, the central and the southeastern Bahamas. The Turks and Caicos are kind of split here with a hurricane warning and a hurricane watch. But you can see the southern Bahamas here, central and southern Bahamas have basically hurricane warnings now in effect, meaning they expect to have winds in excess of 74 miles per hour move across those islands with surge and all that good stuff as we get into Wednesday, I guess I should say, into Wednesday night. And then by Thursday, by sunrise Thursday, it's already pulling away. But wait, there's more, because this now looks like it wants to get pretty close to Bermuda. By that time, we're talking late Thursday night. It's about 85 mile per hour winds. But I tell you, Bermuda's just been dodging. They've been here, they've been coming up here, they've been coming up here. Bermuda's been dodging these things all summer long. It looks like they're going to have to deal with one more of these. Now, I want to go over watches and warnings real fast. Hurricane warnings right here for obviously for Jamaica, eastern tip of Cuba, but the central and southeastern Bahamas. Meanwhile, over here in Haiti, they've got a tropical storm warning. I wanted to point this out a little bit because a lot of folks in the Florida area go to the Bahamas. A lot of folks cruise to the Bahamas, right? Nassau's fine. Grand Bahama's fine. This area that got hit, Marsh Harbor, I mean, you remember Dorian just sat there? That area is fine. It's as you get further down to the south that they will be dealing with some of that. And if the center goes somewhere in here, it would be those islands to the south and the east of the center that see the worst of the weather, all right? That eye wall, the one good thing about the eye wall is it's relatively small, all right? The whole hurricane winds only go out about 30, 35 miles from the center. Okay, so it's about 70 miles wide of hurricane force winds. All right, now, forecast models at this point, we were still waiting to see the turn, so that's important. However, at this point, you can see most of them are taking it up. Oh, that went pretty fast. What happened there? Most of them are taking it up across those islands, and eventually it'll pick up the speed as it's doing so. All right, so that is not that much to argue, but I did want to show you the bigger picture with that because I've seen on the internet over the weekend people saying like Hurricane Sandy going into New York and blah, blah, blah. It's not happening. In fact, if it's going past Bermuda, it's not going to go into New York, but you can see most of the islands in really good agreement that it heads out to sea. Now, let's talk rain. Very, very heavy rainfall, okay? 15 to 30 inches. What you're seeing here numbers-wise, if you take a look at these colors and go up here, this is from now moving forward, all right? They've already been seeing a ton of rain, all right? But it's really going to get heavy, obviously, as the center gets closer, and that's where they're going to end up probably with totals all together now, including what they've already seen, about 15 to 30 inches of rain, all right? A little less than that, but look at Santiago here in Cuba. That pink right there is 15 inches, over a foot, right? 15 to 20 inches is possible in eastern Cuba. By the way, Gitmo has been evacuating. They've been basically, I think they had all non-essential out by Sunday morning. They were getting most of them out by Saturday evening, but wanted to get them all out by Sunday morning. Now, here's the deal. There's a front that just came through Florida today. It's moving through Florida right now. this is it. This is part of a trough that's helping to pick this thing up and take it out. So watch this. Front comes through. This is tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. The front's already through most of Florida. In fact, it's clearing Miami by that time. And here's the storm coming across southeast Cuba. So this helps to pull it to the northeast. All right. And then look at that. By Wednesday evening, it's holding it off. It's blocking Florida, right? We're getting lucky with that. And meanwhile, here comes another front, and this is a much stronger front. Between the two of these, it is going to pick this thing up and take it out to sea. And wow, did we get lucky as far as that's concerned. Now, when we get beyond that, look at all this moisture that's sitting out there, northeast, well, I should say southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. You see all that right there? That's where a lot of the moisture is. All the dry and cooler air now, a lot of wind shear too, is moving over the southeast. Look where we look for storms this time of year. Same spot. So we're progressing. The pattern's progressing just the way that it should be for this time of the year. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to show you some video coming out of Jamaica.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Familiarize yourself with where your water shutoff valve is located. If backflow prevention devices are installed, get them tested annually.
Those are some great tips, and Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
I was driving when a Ford pickup truck barreled into me from behind, sending me to the hospital.
I knew my husband was going to need an excellent attorney, so I called Dan Newland.
I'm so glad my wife called Dan. Dan really fought for me. He won my case and got me $650,000.
If you've been involved in a car accident, allow me to fight for you. Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Thanks, Dan, for winning my husband's case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
Don't forget the cookies. That's right. All right, guys, welcome back. So meteorologist James Hopkins here. He was sent some video from the Sandals resorts in Jamaica from one of them. Take a look at this video that they put up there. This is some of the weather that they saw today. Obviously, the winds are coming up. This is most likely over on the southeast side of the island. That's where the highest winds are coming in off of the water. But this is pretty typical, right? Now, as I was showing you on the track, if it keeps going further west, that would be better for this area of the island here, over towards Kingston, because that area would be a little bit further removed from the center of the hurricane. The tides have been running high already. They've been running at least 3 to 4 feet above normal high tides. They're talking 10 to perhaps 13 to maybe 15 foot of storm surge. That would be in a small location where the eye wall, the eastern eye wall, goes on shore. But look at that. I mean, that's before the storm's there, right? This thing's been sitting out there for a long time. It's making big waves. And so even if the wind is in the 20s, gusts in the 30s, the surf is very high. The swells, the water levels are physically being pushed higher from those high winds that are out there just off of their coast by about 100 and 140, 150 miles or so. So yeah, that's what it looked like then. Now, Jason Allen, he's in Kingston, and he's got the latest on the worsening conditions and the urgent preps that they're underway right now. Having a little bit of an issue with that. But I will say the water that this is over is some of the warmest water. In fact, it is the warmest water in the Caribbean. So right now, this storm is stronger than what the Hurricane Center was thinking. And to me, it looks like it's coming further west than what the Hurricane Center was thinking. And so if it goes even further to the west, it's actually going to spare most of Jamaica the highest winds. Still a lot of rain, but it could spare them the highest winds. Now, as I showed you earlier, the hurricane hunters are out there, right? They have been flying through there. Look at this video. This is what's called the stadium effect. It's when you have a really clear eye wall. Look at the top of that video. That's blue sky, straight up. You'll see pictures of it at night. You can see stars straight up. That is sinking air down in the middle. And then around the base of the eye wall where the high winds are, that air is going up. And it's causing condensation to occur, okay? And that's a heat process. So this is literally venting heat from the ocean. But the more heat there is in that ocean, which this is the most in that part of the Caribbean, right? The stronger, the more energy it has. And so literally this is taking heat from the ocean as energy, dispersing it up, and then eventually taking it more towards the poles. That's what these hurricanes do. So just amazing. Check out this package now talking about the hurricane hunters. This is me.
These airborne laboratories capture critical weather information from all corners of a storm. This crisscross pattern that you see here allows for weather conditions to be sampled at different altitudes and quadrants of a hurricane. At this stage, the storm could be rapidly strengthening. Significant drops in pressure and increases in wind speed are adding stresses to the aircraft. Now, the crew can experience extreme turbulence with drops in altitude of hundreds of feet in a matter of seconds. The plane descends to 10,000 feet so they can punch through the eye wall, the strongest part of the storm where winds can exceed 150 miles per hour. And just like that, conditions go eerily quiet. The clouds clear above them as the air descends into the center of the storm, creating a stadium effect, where the towering clouds of the eye wall surrounding the storm's clear center and create the look of a stadium. Wow, you could see all the way to the blue sky. At this point, the navigator marks the center of the storm, an important waypoint for predicting the future path of a hurricane. While a device known as a drop zone is released from the belly of the plane, this little instrument transmits crucial weather data back to the plane as it falls all the way down to the ocean's surface. That data is analyzed by meteorologists and computers back at the National Hurricane Center, helping to create the updated forecast that you see at home so you can make informed decisions ahead of the storm.
That data is just invaluable because we don't have buoys sitting out all over the place. We don't know where that center is. Everybody has a spaghetti plot. They want to know where those models think it's going, right? Well, we need to know exactly where it is, where the center point is, so that when we put that data into the models, they can all start from the same spot. And then they all look at the atmosphere around it, which also the hurricane hunters do. We have some planes that go right in the middle like you're seeing right here. These are the latest two flights. In fact, here comes the one that's from Lakeland right there. They're the ones they saw 119 mile per hour winds on the outside and a pressure of 910. So they brought the pressure up just a little bit, but they're still out there. They're going to find a little bit more data. But we also have planes, the Gulf Streams, that will fly around on the outside. You'll see those as well. They're literally measuring the outside of the storm, the atmosphere there, to know what that storm's moving into. Is there wind shear, temperatures, dew points, all that good stuff. They're moving that. So it's a big dance that they do all the time. These guys, these men and women are out there working so hard and based out of a bunch of different places as they skip around following these storms. It looks to me like this is coming a little bit further to the west than what they were thinking. And so it's going to be very interesting because for this thing now to make that turn and to hit Jamaica, it's going to have to turn pretty tight. It can still do this, but that would extend some of those watches up into the central Bahamas, more into Cuba if that's the case. I still think Florida's fine. I'm not worried about any of that with the fronts coming through. But right now, we're really concerned about how close it gets to Jamaica. The other side of all this is if it gets on the western tip and just kind of skirts the western tip of Jamaica. It's going to be a much stronger storm by the time it gets up here into eastern Cuba, Santiago and Guantanamo Bay and those areas. So right now, 125 mile per hour winds is the forecast for them. We'll have to wait and see. This, I tell you what, these jogs to the west are all good news for Jamaica at this point. Let's hope it keeps going a little bit further to the west so that swings around offshore and they keep the highest winds offshore. Okay, let's take one more break. It's 8:20. We'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit of local weather.
I was involved in a very bad car accident. Called attorney Dan Newland, and it was like 1, 2, 3. Dan really got it done for me. At the end of my case, he got me $525,000.
As one of the largest personal injury law firms in the United States, my team and I remain committed more than ever to win big on your case. Involved in a car accident? Let's get started. Call me at 813-888-8000.
Thank you, Dan, for winning my case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
With a fresh new look and over 60 years of keeping Floridians comfortable, Cool Today is the name to trust for fast same-day service. Cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Our friendly expert technicians take the hassle out of home repair today. And Cool Today is here for you tomorrow, too. That's why we're introducing a parts and labor warranty on select AC systems for a lifetime. For cooling, plumbing, or electrical service, get the best from today and for years to come. Cool Today.
All right, let's take a look at our local weather here. Boy, we had a good thunderstorm come through the area today. We actually had a severe thunderstorm warning for Hernando, the coastal sections, Pasco, northwest parts of Pinellas, and even Hillsborough County with the line that came through. Right now, that's all out of here. Most of the green that you're seeing on here, that is not rain. That's not rain left over, but there will be a couple sprinkles left in there. But the main line that you see down here, that is rain towards Highlands, southern, southeastern DeSoto County. And yes, a couple of showers falling off the coast of Sarasota, which we have not seen a lot of, and most of the rain was up into Pasco, Hernando, northwest Hillsborough, and Pinellas, or northern Pinellas even at that. South Pinellas didn't see much. St. Pete, Southport, didn't get a lot of rain. But there's the frontal boundary. Now, the frontal boundary is this is number 1, as I mentioned. It's slow to come in. It's stalled a little bit. If you look at the overnight forecast, it's not getting super cool, super dry, but it'll get a little bit, okay? We're getting a small push of that air. And in fact, temperature-wise, we cool off very nicely because of the rain. And we're looking at 60s. Most areas north of I-4, right along the I-4 corridor, we're in the low 70s. And even Sarasota's at 75 degrees right now. And that's without seeing a lot of rain, although there was some rain around there. This is what I wanted to show you because this is different air masses. You can see an air mass here in south. Okay, there's one. You can see an air mass here. All right, there's another. And then clearly you can see another air mass right in here. This is basically the humidity. These are the dew points, but they're high, they're muggy. You probably felt it yesterday for sure. I know you felt it today. Saturday was coming on, because remember last week was just beautiful. Well, that beautiful air is now sitting up here. We're gonna get a taste of that tomorrow. And then I think we get a taste of some of this as we get into, it looks like now, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So here's the forecast. For the Tampa area, we're talking 70s now. We'll fall slowly through those, at least for Tampa, but we've already got some upper 60s, and those will continue to go to the mid 60s. So Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, low to mid 60s for wake-up temps tomorrow. 71 in Tampa, 68 in Lakeland, and we're talking 72 for Sarasota. All right. Now, tomorrow afternoon is just gorgeous because the dew points will actually come down. The humidity will be dropping a little bit. It's going to feel good. kind of like what we were seeing. Notice the winds. It's not super breezy, but it will be a little bit breezy at the coast. This is the first northwest wind that's brought in this cooler, drier air. Up to this point, it's been about 3 weeks to a month. The cool, dry air that we have received is coming in from the northeast. Air masses that push over the Carolinas out over the Atlantic, and then some of it gets pushed in here. This is a cold front making it all the way through here, so we get those northwest winds. Now, look at the highs tomorrow. 80 to about 82 in Tampa, 70s, Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, 81, Sarasota. Wednesday morning, look at these lows. 60s, most areas near the water, 50s elsewhere. And by Saturday morning, most of those 60s are 50s and low to mid 50s. And a lot of those 50s are 40. I think all of those 50s are 40s by Saturday morning. Be close to it by Friday morning. So you can look at these forecast high temps on your Wednesday. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, 80 degrees if we're lucky. So here goes the humidity to drop it out. You can see the dip here that really kind of shows off the second front. Here's the first front, second front just comes right in, bam, just drops it right out. Very dry. The lower this number gets, which is the dew point, the lower those overnight temperatures are going.